Okay, so very interested in your questions, observations. Who'd like to have a chat? Ellen, you had a question, I think.
Yes, I'll kick us off.
Hmm.
I'd be curious to hear more about on our journey to learn the true nature of experience and existence, the role of noting externally. So, to just say a little bit more where this came up, and perhaps this for me is an example of as my wisdom and understanding grows, I'm finding more and more often my mind will notice the suffering of others. But then it can be even something like if I'm having a conversation with my girlfriend who's in a situation where she has to deal with a relationship she has difficulty with, and I hear her talking more frequently than before because this has come into her life, how she's experiencing this. And my mind just can't help but think about how my interpretation of what it is that's happening to her.
Hmm.
Um, Now that isn't me reflecting on my own experiences and learning from my own actions and reactions. And so I don't know whether me noticing something in someone else, how that contributes to my learning or
Oh,
or not.
absolutely.
And of course it's a perception. I'm perceiving, through my notice of perception as to what I'm seeing happening with her or these other situations. So that's the context for my wonderings about that.
Look, it's somewhat implied. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, you don't know, you cannot know for sure unless you've developed the power of knowledge of other people's minds. Then it's always going to be an interpretation. However, what's arising is a perception of an external emotion, say a mental formation. Perhaps your friend is displaying, I don't know, resentment or irritation or frustration. That's what you're picking up. So that's what you note. Okay. So the learning is learning to note externally,
Mhm.
external mental formations, if you want to call it that. Yes,
Okay.
it is inferred. That was the word I was looking for. Inferred, because we cannot know for sure unless, like I say, we've developed the power of knowledge of other people's minds, which we should all be dubious about. Really aspiring to know other people's
Yeah.
minds is like, well, be
Yeah.
careful what you wish for there.
Yeah.
It is an inference of external mental formations, but it is absolutely, it's part of the Buddha's four foundations of mindfulness, the acknowledgement of mental formations externally. So there's the acknowledgement of the perception, acknowledgement of the external mental formation, shape and color, sound, taste, smells. It's not just internal stuff we need to acknowledge, it is external formations also. What we
Okay.
loosely ordinarily think of as internal and external. The division turns
Right.
out to be entirely illusory, but however,
Yeah.
does that help? I mean, so
Well, it does. That takes it back to first principles of noting my experience and the extra chunk that, of course, I'm not noting is that I'm now thinking about, oh, look what she's doing. And I'm inferring that, she's not accepting the sister's personality the way she could, and her suffering would disappear if she, made a change in that area. It's like that's all thinking,
hmm,
and which again I could label. But
yeah,
I get law. I guess my mind goes over there and just enjoys all that thinking.
okay, and there's no criticism there. It's an observation.
It could
That
be an
itself is
observation.
a very interesting observation. you must have now something to compare that state of mind to in order to be able to distinguish it.
Mm. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So the
helpful. Yeah.
mind, there's the mind that is caught up in those kinds of observations, and then there is the mind which isn't.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we just simply want to see the transient nature of each. Now, there is absolutely, definitely, there are other learnings embedded in there as well. On the conventional level, there's the development of empathy and compassion for your friend, for her
Mm-hmm.
circumstances. It's then the possibility of transmuting those thoughts into compassionate thoughts. Compassion is the desire for people to be free of suffering. So you have you've been given a privileged um, insight into what's going on in somebody else's life. And there's the recognition. Perhaps there's also the recognition of things that perhaps you've already learned that this person is trying to learn. And
Mm.
that doesn't have to be an opportunity for some kind of critique. It can just simply be a very open acknowledgement of yeah, I can see where you're coming from with this. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
and and the wish that she be free of that suffering.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's lots there that you can work with.
Work with. Yeah. That's good. The last thing you said, I think, particularly resonates, which is I'm seeing possibly in someone else something that I feel like I've learned and has really benefited me, and I'm seeing that person not having learned that yet.
And is there a strong urge to tell them?
Well, and I'm pretty good about that. I mean, yeah, it comes up. You're right, and I don't, you know, and I yeah, so lots to work with there. Thank you.
It is.
And
I mean, it isn't to
I
say
like
that there isn't room for a discussion.
she is the kind of friend that I can do those kinds
Yeah.
of
Okay. Fair enough.
conversations with sometimes,
Yeah.
but I just do it selectively sometimes when it seems like she's open to it.
Yes. It's when people are open to it. I have 25 years experience trying to learn this lesson of waiting until somebody is actually open and wants to receive. That's even like one-to-one meditation interviews on retreat. I cannot assume that the person, even though they're sitting there and they're nodding their heads, that they actually want to hear it from me.
Mm.
You have to wait because you can't force feed people, and it's not part of compassion really to insist on a resolution, externally. It's, as I often say, we're learning to rest with things remaining unresolved, because it is the seeking the resolution that keeps the problem alive. And
Mhm.
if there is a resolution, then somebody performs the action that is required in order to resolve it, and it is resolved, or it is an ongoing unresolved issue, and you are allowed to leave these things unresolved. And so, one thing I've learned is with every interview, the person walks away with their suffering,
Mm.
because I wouldn't want anyone to have taken mine away from me.
Right. That's what generates change.
I have to
Yeah.
I have
And
to take
motivation.
responsibility and find out the causes of suffering within myself. That's what we're If we're looking at it from a Buddhist lens, that's what we're doing here.
Lovely. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ellen. If you have a question or observation, you can use the hand gesture, the thumbs up hand gesture, or the hand waving gesture. It's in the React section at the bottom of your screen. Lucy, good evening.
Hi, Paul. Just had a question kind of off the back of Ellen's, separate to Ellen's question, but just thinking about when you have someone like a friend who, you talked about their problems or whatever. It's not kind of when you get to the point where, if you get to the point where it's kind of too much now for you to take. It's not kind of where the line is, but how to kind of compassionately kind of make yourself unavailable as a friend for a bit to take on, when you're kind of absorbing too much of their problems, or it's just too, it's just much, and you just need to, hopefully compassionately just kind of just draw a line, just be unavailable, emotionally unavailable or something. How to do that.
I don't have any neat tricks because I'm not socially that adept. That's not where my skill set lies. Ultimately, I think that we have to ponder the human tendency to try to dissipate and dissolve painful feelings by giving them to somebody else. Because most human beings, that's the only way they know of doing it. Because they don't know that feelings are transient. They don't know that no narrative is set in stone as the truth. And so they're living it as a reality, an unchanging reality. And so the only way they know of dissipating the painfulness is by giving it to one of their friends or at least somebody else. I have learned as a meditation teacher that it's okay to feel somebody else's pain, but I don't take on their pain. I feel it and I know it's coming from them, and I leave it with them, which means that I'm emotionally available, but that I'm not taking on their energy. And the way you do it is that you practice mindful noting and you note painful feelings as having an external source. So it's, again, this inference that it's coming from externally, but you're experiencing it, but you know it's not yours. And you therefore acknowledge it. You could even say, look, I feel your pain. And you mean it because you actually do. And you wish them well. Well, I really hope that you're able to sort that out. And so it's like somebody makes you a meal and they offer you the meal and you decide you're not going to take it. Who does the food belong to? It belongs to them still. And so practicing mindful noting, not falling into defensiveness and resistance, because that is how you actually take on the painful feelings, by trying to keep them at bay. And instead, so we are all like cells. We all have like semi permeable membrane walls between us. We retain as the sense of our individual identity, but we can receive and send information, data through this membrane that apparently separates us. And so you acknowledge that you've experienced this. you are experiencing this, but it remains theirs. And that way you're able to remain emotionally available, but you're also able to say, subtly, you say, look, I really feel your pain, and I really, really hope you find a solution to that. Bye. Maybe not the bye bit. Lucy, does that help at all?
Yes, it does. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Do you find that you retain their energy?
So for the last few months, for various reasons, I feel like I've got no capacity to kind of be there for people. Even things just like when you're walking past, someone tries to get you to sign up for a charity thing or something. At the moment, I just feel like it's no to everything. It's no to everything at the moment from me. Anything.
Well, you do you. Like especially with those street vendors, because it is all a bit. You do you, and you set your boundaries that feels right for you at this time, with the knowledge that can always change. And get into compassion meditation. Because the more you are able to acknowledge your own suffering, this goes back to what Ellen was saying, the more you're able to acknowledge your own suffering, the more clearly you see it in others too. And the more you're able to wish peace and happiness and freedom from suffering towards yourself, the more you're able to offer that externally without feeling the need to necessarily take on other people's issues. And it doesn't have to take long. 5 minutes at the beginning of a meditation, just contemplating a couple of people that you know who are facing issues and problems, and acknowledging what those are, acknowledging how common they are and how we're all susceptible to those kinds of things, and that genuinely wishing that they be free of their suffering. It's amazing what that can do in terms of just transforming outlooks without ever feeling that commitment that you've got to externally sort of like feel that you've got to go out of your way. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And you should, there is no need to feel obliged. Because if you feel obliged, it's not, where's it coming from, really?
It's interesting because I recently was at a place where I realized there was loads of these, there was loads of other things too, but there was also lots of like charities set up. And I accidentally spoke, knowing full well I wasn't going to sign up or donate anything that day. I kind of accidentally got speaking to one, and then at the end they do their spiel, and I thought, no, I'm not going to sign up. And he's like, would you like to support us? And I was like, no, sorry, moved on. And then in my head I thought, it's no to charities today. It was a bit of a joke with myself, but I went then I was very, because I'd kind of made that decision and knew that today was just not a day for that. I went very happily turned them all, whenever they're like, oh, you look like a friendly person. I was like, actually, I'm not. But yeah, I was able to just, that was my line. I decided I liked that. Yeah, I just kind of, it felt very good actually once I'd kind of, but I kind of not made the mistake the first time, but it was, I was caught out the first time and then thought, right, it's no today. Today's not about that. It's just, I'm not here for that. So then it did feel, it did feel kind of good to have just drawn that line that day, and it'll be different on other days.
Yes, know yourself. No, just know yourself and know that you have agency, and people will try every trick in the book to manipulate. I mean, I don't want to make it, I'm being really harsh on people, but people know how to manipulate. They know what to say. They've got, these these people on the street, they've got their patter, haven't they? They've got their way in. But if you internally, if you have just a really clear sense of where you are today, and no, today isn't the day for this, then you can't be got round. No amount of, patter will do it. You just say, not today, thank you. And they'll give it all this, but this is where we have to know ourselves through and through and understand ourselves and where our boundary happens to be today. And you just live with that. Yeah, that's times at Bradford and Avon, these very forlorn, sad-looking people sitting near the supermarket just as you're walking in. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to give this chap some money. Don't know where it's going to go, but I feel like that today. Another day, I feel like, do you know what? Not today. It's fine. Okay. Was there anything else, Lucy?
Yeah, that was all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sally, hello.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Sally. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. I have a
Good.
very loud purring cat, so I hope it doesn't get too loud.
Oh, we love cats here. Don't worry.
I have a question about the body.
Mhm.
So the last couple of weeks, my meditations have become very body focused, as in kind of just naturally kind of focusing on what's happening, sensation in the body. And I get very hot when I'm meditating. And it's I've had a few times where I've felt quite a lot of instability in the body, so some nausea, some lightheadedness. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, I had to kind of leave halfway through because I was going to faint. All of which has been like I've just been sitting with and just watching, and has been really valuable, obviously, in kind of seeing transience and the very unsatisfactory nature of the body. So yeah, it's all been very interesting learning process. I've also been having some fear and dread arise.
Ooh, it's just getting better and better.
better. Last Saturday in particular was it was the immediate fear that I'm going to faint again. So it was that immediate fear and dread, but it also became that much bigger kind of existential fear and dread, about how long is my body going to survive? My body is, illness, disease, the kind of descent to death, all of the, the big stuff. So it's all rolled into one, and it was particularly the Saturday one, it just all came in waves, like the bodily sensations and the fear and dread. So I suppose my question is, first of all, the approach of when I'm sitting in formal meditation, particularly in the shrine room, and I'm feeling instability in the body. I have a tendency to not focus on what is making me unstable. I've got a strategy of really focusing on my individual toes and my awareness of individual toes, and that really helps to keep me focused, because I know that if I focus on especially the lightheadedness, that will escalate it. But I'm interested in kind of your thoughts on how is best to be managing that, but also the fear and dread aspect, your thoughts on that as well.
Yes, all forms of self-concern.
Yes, absolutely.
And self-concern expresses itself as wanting life to be different than it is. And that exacerbates whatever, perceptually, it exacerbates whatever's unfolding. And then we add in narratives that further solidify our perception of what's unfolding as being the truth of it. And Sally, there is only one way through, which is to watch it all. And to risk the worst case scenario.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I'm glad to have confirmed your fears. Sally, as I tell everyone, I don't ask anyone to do anything I haven't done. And I have sat in meditation with all kinds of stuff coming out of my nose, and oh yeah, I've had, massive like blood pressure drops first thing in the morning in meditation. I haven't actually fainted. I felt like it. What I think it comes back to, because everything you say, I mean, yes, just watch all the, not just the things that arise, but all your responses to them, and trying not to look at the lightheadedness, refocusing on the toes, trying to keep myself secure, trying to keep myself safe, trying to keep it on track, on board, not letting it all become uncontrolled, and and watch it all and note it, and in your journal just jot down exactly what happened and in what order to the best of your ability, and then reflect on the fact that all of it was insubstantial, all of it changed, none of it was the solid certain thing that the mind is telling us at those times. And then it just comes back to what I was saying before the meditation is, do you want the truth? Do you want to realize the infinite mystery? Because it demands that you throw all of this into the bonfire. It demands that you throw all of this into the flames, the sacred fire, throw it all in there. Feeling sick, feeling lightheaded, not wanting to crash in the shrine room, all of it. It's renouncing it all as being me, mine, or myself. And so just being willing to mindfully note and observe the transient nature of all of it, it's the only way through. And what I have found is that over the years, that this gorgeous equanimity, this really mature, gorgeous equanimity starts to develop, where there isn't the tendency to resist what comes up, and therefore it doesn't become anything in particular. So like even this morning, I had this weird feeling in my gut when I was meditating, but I just didn't create a narrative out of it at all. Whereas perhaps in the past, I might well have reacted to that and built it into something greater than it actually need be. Does this help? I'm not sure. Yeah, I know it helps.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of, I think it's probably what I knew, that like there's no right way around it. I've just got to go through it.
Yeah.
And the same with the fear and dread.
Oh yes, we hadn't got onto the fear and dread, had we? Absolutely.
I would imagine it's exactly the same.
Well, the Buddha, there is a sutta called Discourse on Fear and Dread, in which the Buddha recounts his time before he was enlightened, when he was in the forests meditating, and he would deliberately go to the scary places at night to meditate, the tiger paths, the lonely abandoned shrines in the forest, and he would sit and meditate, and he'd hear the breaking of twigs behind him or something. And he was resolute. He said, well, if I'm sitting and the fear and dread come upon me, I remain sitting. If I'm standing, I remain standing. If I'm walking, I remain walking. That you don't change your posture when the fear and dread, because if we give in to the tendency to say, oh no, I can't cope with this, I've got to go, we actually reinforce the fear and dread. If we're willing to stay with it and allow it to pass through us, and we gain experience, because intellectually we know, but we gain experience that this fear and dread is actually transient and does not relate to anything substantial and real. It's just telling us to be careful. That's what fear is. It's just trying to tell us to be careful. And we allow it to pass through, we gain the experiential understanding that I don't need to change. I don't need to resist this. I can just let it pass through. So that was the Buddha's recommendation. If fear and dread come upon you when you're sitting in the shrine room, you remain sitting in the shrine room. Again, yes. I don't ask anyone to do anything I haven't done.
I might sit at the back though, just to begin with.
Yeah, you've got the wall there just to hold.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, it is. You know, it is a really important point, and I know it's tough, but walking out is not the answer.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it a couple of weeks ago. I really didn't want to. I was looking at the ground in front of me thinking, should I just lie down there? In the end, I did decide to go, but
I might well have come over and said, Sally, are you okay when you're lying there? But, you know.
Yeah.
Look, okay. We've had people faint in the shrine room, and, you know, it has happened, but they've all lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
I remember one woman who fainted in the shrine room. She later finished the training. So
okay, all right, that's encouraging.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sally. Thank you. Who else has got some questions or comments or would like to have a chat? Edward, hello. Good evening.
Hello, evening, Paul. My query is about I don't know what the proper term is, but the subconscious of sleep and of dreaming in particular. So okay. I suffer. I think this is true of very vivid, unpleasant dreams, which doesn't set me up particularly well because I'm having to consciously forget them in the morning, so to speak. So each morning there's a cleansing required of unpleasant dreams for me to be able to face the day or face the moment of consciousness, if you like, with any degree of positivity. So
what does the cleansing, without being too personal, what does this cleansing like consist of? What do you do in order to free your mind from them?
Well, I mean, I suppose it's in a sense it's mindful noting that it was a narrative of the imagination, and it wasn't true, and Indeed. It didn't happen. It's just a story that my mind is creating for myself while I'm sleeping. But I just wonder, I can't really find a solution to get rid of them because I'm not in a mindful state while I'm sleeping.
Oh yeah, well we have to accept what unfolds, don't we?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we accept what unfolds doesn't mean that we can't subsequently do something in response. But is the response coming from a rejection of that prior experience, resistance, or is it coming from an acceptance of that prior experience? That determines a lot. So if we're coming from if we're coming from a position of saying that shouldn't have happened, then we're reinforcing clinging attachment to that as a problem, as an issue. We are highlighting it as a problem, that something that needs resolving. Whereas we're coming from a place of acceptance. It's like, yeah, unwanted. I mean, it's very, in a sense, it's very similar to Sally's question, or difficulties in meditation. That's more on the physical, but it's still the uncontrollable nature of physical experience. This is the uncontrollable nature of the mind that is not being controlled. It's not the control of conscious experience. It's kind of just letting go in sleep and allowing whatever imagery wants to arise, whatever storylines want to arise. It's just letting go and allowing it. And this is the kind of stuff that's coming up. But if we come from a place of acceptance saying that, then in the morning we can go, okay, so there are these sort of, not just these thoughts, but there are these images, there's all these feelings, there's a feeling tone that comes with it as well, isn't there? And it's just mindfully, in hindsight, retrospectively, just noting that all these things took place. But the key is the acceptance of them.
Accepting it, yeah.
And maybe
I think I feel more like a victim of them, I suppose you could say.
There's the problem, yeah.
And so I need to switch it around and just say it's happened, but not to me. It comes to the self, comes back to the self, maybe.
Isn't it awesome?
Yes.
This stuff happens. Yes. And what happens is we inadvertently reinforce this as a problem through, thinking this shouldn't have happened to me. We actually then make it more likely we're going to have further. It's not so much whether we have those kinds of experiences subsequently. It's the tendency of the mind to delineate those kinds of instances and then raise them up in importance. Right? Maybe, I'm not saying this, Edward, because I couldn't possibly know this, but maybe you have all kinds of different dreams, but maybe there's a bias towards these kinds of dreams in terms of saying, oh no, I had one of those. Oh no, now I've got to sort this. Yeah. And that comes from our tendency, when we reject something, we become more aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that does make sense. Yes.
Which is why I asked you about the cleansing of it, because if it is that it's being done to try to get rid of in the belief it shouldn't have been there, it is reinforcing that bias.
Yes, and then just perpetuates it. Yes.
Yeah, or you're just going to be more likely to delineate that when it happens next time and treat it with maximum importance, whereas a different kind of dream you might have, which is just like, I don't know, I just went down the shops in my dream and brought some tomatoes or something. And so, that wasn't very interesting. We pay it no heed whatsoever. But in terms of what they actually are, they are both equivalent, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, and they're both nothing. Ultimately.
Well, exactly. Well, yeah.
Yes.
And if you can deconstruct it, break it down into what symbols, what images, what feelings. Yeah. So rather than get caught up in the content of it, like I was chased by this space monster or something. I shouldn't tell you so much about my dreams. But if you deconstruct it into feelings and sort of symbols and images and stuff, that helps you to see that actually it's made of nothing. The Tibetans have a dream yoga. They actually cultivate lucid dreaming so that whilst they're lucid dreaming, they can gain insight into emptiness.
Gosh.
So you could turn it on its head like that. Actually, get more into dream yoga and that kind of thing. That's not guidance. That's just thinking off the top of my head. But that might be another way around it. Actually, go into it more.
Yeah, use it as a tool to further my insight. Yeah.
Yes, insight
Yes.
into the emptiness of it all. Yeah.
Yes, rather than getting scared by the content, so to speak.
Exactly. That's what tripped us up, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We give the content undue emphasis.
Yeah.
No, it might very well be in terms of dream analysis and stuff. You might be able to find out all kinds of stuff about yourself, but it's kind of hit neither here nor there. It's from, especially from my point of view, it is about deconstructing the experience and seeing that there is nothing concrete there, and therefore nothing that I have to run away from.
Yeah, and the acceptance. Thank you. No, thank you very much. Thank you.
That's really interesting. Thanks, Edward. Thank you. Sarah, hello.
Hello. I thought I'd just join in with that talking about dreams. I remember when I was in the monastery and having a series of kind of the opposite kind of dream. And that's quite funny when you actually enjoy the dream a lot and you know, because I've got a good imagination, I was seeing all these important patterns about what it must mean for my meditation. And, you know, wow, this is brilliant. This is showing this and, you know, symbols and whatever. And I think you were just very helpful to bring me down to ground in a similar way, just to say, look, note what's happening in what order. Put a little note in your journal and then leave it, you know, rather than go on and on. So I was going on and on trying to think this is really important in a positive way. But it was actually really a great practice just to treat it like any other series of thoughts or like a meditation. So then after time, I could see that, you know, sometimes that there was just the same pattern of the arising of this and that kind of response that was what was going in the meditation anyway. So it was just like an extension in a way. So it was really useful.
Yeah, I think yes. I mean, it's especially for where we have a tendency to cling to these things and a kind of grandiose sort of like perspective on it, sort of like bigging it up, making it more than it actually is. And I think it is really, really helpful to deconstruct things and to recognize that, yeah, transient phenomenon. It's just aggregates. It's just more aggregates arising and passing away. But I think we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I think dreams are just an incredible facet of our human experience. And I think that there is meaning can be meaning in dreams. They can be symbolic. In other traditions, dreaming is, you know, in the Sufi tradition, in Tibetan tradition, we know in the, you know, the native Australian tradition that dreaming plays a bigger role than it does in Theravada Buddhism. I have to be honest. And so there is a richness there, and lucid dreaming is a thing, and you know what people call astral travel. You know, going into sleep is an incredible portal to experiencing other dimensions of experience. It's just, I could tell you stories. I won't bore you with my dream stories, but yeah, so we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but what is our overarching objective? I mean, it's got to be the realization of emptiness, isn't it? It's got to be the realization of the infinite mystery. And everything that happens, dreams included, are finite expressions of that infinite mystery. So, does that help, Sarah?
Yeah, lovely.
Confirm?
Thank
Yeah.
you. But it did remind me of that, the other aspect, which is not dreams itself, but that whatever the word is, that state between sleep and being awake is an amazing time.
Hypnagogic states.
Really amazing that,
Yeah.
you know, one can really have very clear noting and insight and a
Just
very
fun.
Yeah, fun.
You can have fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anda, making a rare appearance this evening. Hello.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Yes,
No, I just all this talk about dreams and sleep and things just reminded me about the metta practice and the story that you told about Peter and his girls were having trouble sleeping, and he got them to do, talk about what they liked about their friends and things, and how much better they slept as a consequence of that. I know we're not talking about getting rid of dreams, but how important just
Yes, no, very,
Yeah.
perhaps, yeah, very good. And maybe if people are struggling with their dreams, the nature of their dreams, then that's maybe something to bear in mind. I mean, it's saying your prayers at bedtime, isn't it? It just is. It's just creating a very positive, benevolent state of mind as you drift off to sleep. The daily practice of metta, one of the stated benefits is one sleeps well, has pleasant dreams, and wakes up refreshed and happy. So, yeah, very good point, Ander. Very well made.
Yeah.
So, yes, so, if anyone is struggling with their sleep patterns, if they're struggling with difficult dream life, then, very much recommend the practice of loving kindness meditation. It can be hugely beneficial in that regard. Does anyone anything further they'd like to talk about with regards to anything we've spoken about this evening, or is there any other topics you'd like to discuss? Okay, well, if not, we can leave it there for this evening. Okay. If you have questions, you're very welcome to email them, and I'll fit them in, or you can leave a chat here, and I'll look at the chats that come in if you'd rather not speak for the future. But look, I'm here, I'm available. I must presume everyone's practice is going superbly well, and therefore you don't have any questions. So my job is done.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stop the recording.
Okay. So